What is going on, everybody? Zyonik here. And in today's video, we are going to do a full tutorial deep dive of PvPoke's website so you guys can really understand how to utilize this to its full potential. Alright, so getting right into it, the first thing we're going to look at is actually going to be the rankings. We're not going to go to battle just yet. We're going to go to the rankings. And as you guys know, you can separate this here based on Great, Ultra, or Master League, and you can also break it down by the cups. So if we, for example, take a look at Season 1 Regionals, you can see the rankings of the Season 1 Regional Pokemon. Not only you can see the overall, you can see the leads, meaning the best Pokemon with shields in play. So a Medicham with Power Up Punch is going to be phenomenal, as we know. Closers, the best Pokemon with no shields in play. Azumarill's Natural Bulk will definitely be able to do a ton of damage. And then Altaria with Dragon Breath, right? Attackers, the best Pokemon against shielded opponents while unshielded. Medicham's going to be up there, and Bastiodon's going to be up there. And then defenders, the best Pokemon while shielded against against unshielded opponents. So Pokemon like Swampert, who is able to get off Hydro Cannon extremely quickly, will do very well if it has one shield and the enemy has no shields, right? So that just kind of shows you how you can take a look at the overall rankings and different attributes of the rankings, but then there's more to it, right? So if we take a look at Azumarill, it kind of breaks it down. It gives you the recommended moveset or the most optimal moveset, which is going to be Bubble, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, and Play Rough. And now this is all going to be determined based on your team composition, right? So maybe you go with Ice Beam and Hydro Pump if you don't need the Play Rough coverage. It also shows you your key matchups. So the higher meta ranked Pokemon you're going to be good against, which is going to be Medicham, Altaria, Skarmory, Bastiodon. And then your top counters, so an Ivysaur, a Venusaur, and a Tentacruel, are going to be things you want to look out for. Now, not only can you do this with all of the Pokemon, but if you actually go down, you can click on this Azumarill versus Season 1 Regionals. And what this does is gives you a breakdown against all of the Pokemon that are eligible for the tournament. So you can see that if we are in a one shield scenario, meaning the enemy shields once and we shield once, Azumarill has a 75% win rate. And you can see from here what it's good against, which is going to be at the top. So Cranidos, Torkoal, Flareon. Though we won't see those kind of Pokemon, some Pokemon we may see would be something like Steelix possibly. It's going to do well against Steelix. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see Pokemon that it's really weak against. And what this does is it gives you a good image on what you're going to be weak against, what you're going to be good against. So as you can see here, it's all those grass users, Razor Leaf, Frenzy Plant, all that kind of stuff. Then the electrical Pokemon and the poison type Pokemon. And then as you get towards the middle, you got kind of like even matchups. So like an Umbreon, you can barely beat it. And if we take a look here, you can see the Sim of Y, the Hydro Pump, right? Ice Beam. But if we give it Play Rough, right, you have a better win rate against it. But if we go back to here, that's basically how it kind of breaks down. You can kind of see how Pokemon do. So maybe if we give Azumarill no shields, right, and the enemy has one shield, you see that it loses a lot more. So that's just kind of how this whole ranking works. If we go back to the rankings, you can kind of break it down. You can go through the Twilight Cup, the Boulder Cup, same thing for everything. You can click on the Pokemon, see the most optimal moveset. And just another note to make, guys, just because it's in the top 2 doesn't mean it's going to be the actual best moveset for the cup. It's all based on your team and the coverage that you need. So let's go ahead and head over to the battle portion. So this is where you can do simulations, and there's a lot of information to be had here. So let's say we have Azumarill versus Skarmory, right? What you can do here is there's a lot of different settings you can play with. Let's start off with the moves, right? So you can change the fast move. You can change the fast moves on these. These are both good. You can change the charge moves. So Hydro Pump, Play Rough. Maybe we give Ice Beam instead of Play Rough. And instead of Brave Bird, we give it Flash Cannon. Alright, so now we have the right move sets, but what else can we do? Well, we can go to the advanced setting and give it the IVs that we actually have for our own Pokemon. So if you know that your Azumarill is maybe a 12, 12, 12, right? It's going to be 1461. So then maybe we level it up one more time. So we go 38, maybe go 39, 38.5. There we go, 1494. This will give you the most optimal look at how your Pokemon will actually do when you fight. So you can change the IVs there. So you can do that. You can also increase stat modifiers. So this can go down or up. So Pokemon like Medicham with Power Up Punch, each time it does a Power Up Punch, you can give it a +1 attack. Or if it does something like Acid Spray, you can give it a -1 attack. And then you can also go into the shielding. So you can give it 1, 2 shields, or you can go into the options here, which with this you can give it starting HP, starting energy. So let's say we give it 100 starting HP, but we give it 55 starting energy. What this does is basically, if you want to simulate like Azumarill versus one Pokemon, Azumarill beats that Pokemon, then you want to bring in the next Pokemon to see how it does, you can actually take that information and plug it in. Like Azumarill won that last fight, it still has 100 HP, it has 1 shield left. Let's say Skarmory has 2 shields, but it has 55 energy. So then we can simulate the battle and see that Skarmory can actually beat it pretty well. As you can see here, it'll use both Ice Beams, and then Sky Attack will finish it off. So that's just one way you can play around with it. Now, if we zero out everything here, we give no shields, this moveset, we go ahead and battle. What we want to look at is the timeline here. So the timeline, you can actually highlight over the fast moves and see that Bubble does 4 damage to this Skarmory and gives you 11 energy. And then Air Slash on Skarmory's side does 6 damage and gives you 9 energy. So then you can actually count that Air Slash, that there's going to be 5 Air Slashes before it can use Sky Attack. So you know if a Skarmory does 5 fast attack animations, it's going to have that that Sky Attack ready to go. You can also highlight over the moves, whether it's up here. So Hydro Pump's going to be doing 60 damage for 75 energy, or Ice Beam's going to be doing 35 damage for 55 energy. So you can see that Hydro Pump's definitely going to be more optimal when it comes to damage output, because it's only got a 15 energy difference, meaning the damage is 15 less energy. And then the damage here is 20 less energy. So you can kind of see why going for a Hydro Pump would be more advantageous, especially in a 0 shield scenario, because then you can finish off with an Ice Beam. And then if we scroll down here, we can look at the shielding breakdown. And what this shows is the 0, the 1, and the 2 shielding scenarios. So at 0 shields, Azumarill is going to win because it has a 524 rating. And it's always going to favor, the numbers are going to favor the left side. So Azumarill having a 524 means it's going to beat Skarmory. In a 1 shield scenario where they both shield once, Azumarill will still win with a 613 rating. But if we look at maybe Skarmory shields once and Azumarill doesn't shield, we see that Skarmory actually wins because it has a 487 rating, and 500 means they tie. They will kill each other at the same time. So this is how you can kind of see that, okay, Azumarill has favorable matchups against Skarmory in all shielding scenarios, so it's okay to stay in that fight. Now you can also go even more advanced and go into Sandbox Mode, and what this does is you can change things up. So instead of using Ice Beam here, maybe we click here and we use an Ice Beam there, and then maybe we come over here and the next place we have an opportunity to use an Ice Beam, we use an Ice Beam. And then you can see that, alright, so in this situation, if we put another Sky Attack here, we'll see that Azumarill will win with 3 HP left because it went for 2 Ice Beams instead of a Hydro Pump and an Ice Beam. So that's just kind of how the sandbox works. There's a lot of things you can change around in it, but what's really important is understanding the moves that you can change, the stats that you can change, because that will have an effect. and then really knowing this graph. This graph, I think, is probably the most important thing to know from the battle simulator, to know what is going to beat what in what situation. So when you come to that fight, you know that, okay, if I actually try to shield twice, I'm not going to win this fight on Skarmory. Like, Skarmory's, you know, it's going to lose in all situations. So maybe Skarmory goes for the one shield and then bails out of there. So next up, we're going to look at the team builder section. And what you can do here is put in, let's say we go to Kingdom Cup and we give ourselves random Pokemon from the Kingdom Cup. As you can see, it gave us Frostlass, Ponyta, and Glaceon. We can generate the team rating, and what this will tell us overall what we're weak to, what we're strong against. So as we can see, we're weak to 8 of the 18 types. And then it gives us the battle ratings here, and then tells you your potential threats. So a Bastiodon is going to do a ton of work to this team. And then it gives you suggestions for alternatives. So it says maybe a Flygon or a Lucario would be good alternative swap-in. Maybe we put in Lucario instead of Glaceon, and then maybe we put Bastiodon instead of Ponyta, and then we have somewhat of a more rounded team. Now the next thing we're going to look at is the moves section, and you don't actually see it on the homepage. What you have to do is go up here to the top right and you can click on moves, and what this will do is give you the damage and energy from the fast moves and the charge moves. So you can see, you can sort it by damage. Obviously Charm, Confusion are going to be doing huge amounts of damage. You can take a look at the damage per turn, energy per turn. So if we look at damage per turn, Razor Leaf is still number 1 when it comes to damage per turn. It's going to be 5.5, and then Charm is 5.33. And then you can also go to charge moves. So this, you can see the energy cost and the damage. So if we go off of damage, Draco Meteor is going to be the number 1 damage, but it's going to cost a ton of energy. So maybe we should sort it by damage per energy, meaning the cost of energy to how much damage you output. As we see, Hydro Cannon is the number 1 move. Remember, Swampert has that, and that's why he's so relevant. Frenzy Plant being the next, and then Blast Burn. So our starters are going to be looking really good when it comes to those charge moves of Frenzy Plant, Blast Burn, and Hydro Cannon. So this is kind of where you can get some information about all of the charge moves, all of the fast moves, kind of like stored in the back of your head. So that is just another resource that PvPoke provides. Now, the final thing that we can do here, guys, is one of the most amazing things ever, is play real-time battle simulations against a CPU opponent. This means you can battle an AI at different difficulties, and that's going to be in the train section. So if we go to the train section, there's a lot of different options here. What the first thing we want to note is on the right hand side, it says single 3v3, which means you can add 3 Pokemon. So if we give ourselves random 3 Pokemon, there we go. We can change this to tournament mode, which is 6v6. And what this will do is when we fight the AI, it'll be like a tournament match. So you can change this. If we go to leagues and cups, you can change this to Great, Ultra, Master, and you can also make it a cup. So we can go to Season 1 Regionals. You can also change the difficulty. So it can be Novice all the way to Champion, and Champion is extremely hard, very good at training to get better. Elite as well. But if you're brand new, maybe go Novice or Rival just to get the hang of it, then bump up to Elite and Champion. And then also here in Team Selection, you can do Random, Manual, or Featured Teams. So the random, obviously it's going to give you a random team. The manual, you can give it Pokemon. Or the featured teams, which is something new, which is awesome, is you can fight other content creators. So we got Best in West, Elite Four, Wyvern, Jay Devon, Call Me Jake, Dark Matter Wolf, Jay Firmacus, Styx, Valorash, and myself. So you can fight our team. So if we go Zyonik, we'll fight myself with regionals. You don't get to see what my team is until you get into the battle, but maybe we put it at champion. We're going to pause the video for just a second, guys, before we get right back into about the whole training section, but there is a challenge set out there from King IV, from myself, from other content creators. And what it is to bring more support to PvPoke through his Patreon. Help give him a lot of support for this amazing resource that he has created for us, guys. I've been a patron of his for months now, and the challenge is to get to 200 patrons, and all of the teams that we have from content creators and other Pokemon Go influencers will be unlocked on the website for all future cups and previous cups. So that is the challenge set out, and this was started from King, and then it's just going to be continued on to help bring support to PvPoke.com. And then we give myself a random team. So there we go. I got Toxicroak, Azumarill, Skarmory, Bronzong, Bastion, Quagsire. You can actually go and battle. So here we go. We are fighting myself here, and I have Medicham, Azumarill, Skarmory, Haunter, Probopass, and Gallade. Now this was my team from my regional tournament that I had won. I went 6-0 with this team. It was really strong back then. Nowadays I might switch things up, but I wanted to be nostalgic when I submitted my team, so there we go. So what you do here is basically you can look at the opponent's line and then pick your own line of 3. So maybe I go Bronzong lead with Skarmory and Bastion in the back, right? Let's say that. Now we're actually in a fight. So you can click, you can do this with your phone or with the computer app. You can actually get into a fight against the opponent. So this is just an amazing feature. This is a new way to train if you don't have anyone to battle or maybe everyone's asleep. Definitely head over, and then the charge move, you just tap it up to 3 and you're good to go right there. Once you get 3 rings, you are good to go. And as you see, we get a shield there. So maybe we look to switch. Maybe we want to switch to Skarmory. He decides to switch. He switches to Probopass. So as you can see there, now some other features that are here. You can auto tap, right? So you can have it auto fight for you. Or there's other things like a pause button, a redo, or an exit out. So maybe you're in between raids, you're doing some battles, but then the raid's gonna be starting soon. You go ahead and pause it. You can come back to this later. It'll stay there. And then you just hit play again to re-go. If you want to restart the fight, you can restart fresh, just like we are right here. Or if you're feeling, you know what, I gotta go, or what have you, you can just exit out, and it brings you back to this screen. And then you can always go back to the train section and start all over. So that's how you work around that. Now you can also save teams. So if we create a random group, so there we go. Maybe I want to save this as random team 1. You save it. There we go. That random team will always be there. So if we give ourselves new custom group and then we go to random team 1, there we go. Boom. Our team is saved. So you can set up teams of 3, teams of 6. Maybe you're practicing some lines of 3 for the Mirror Cup or for whatever tournament is coming in the future. This is a great way to keep everything organized so you don't have to individually edit. And how you can do that. So let's go to new custom group. You can just add a Pokemon. You type in the name. So let's go Skarmory, right? You can give it the stats that you want, your own stats, and then we give it a plus. Let's give it a +4 modifier, and then Sky Attack, Air Slash, and then we'll go Flash Cannon, and we'll add that, and then we'll random fill, as you guys, yeah. So we'll go, actually, we'll give, hold on. We'll do, actually, let's do this for fun. Let's go Medicham with Power Up Punch, Ice Punch, and let's give it +4 and +4. Let's see, okay. Champion, random, battle. Okay, so we have +4 damage and defense. Let's see how this goes. It's not looking, I don't know if it's actually working. I don't think it worked. That would be too easy. That'd be funny. Yeah, no, it didn't work, but that's okay. We can exit out. So yeah, that is PvPoke's website, guys. This is an amazing resource. This is like where I live when it comes to Pokemon Go PvP, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys found it informative. So be sure to smash that like button, comment down below, and let me know what you guys think of the PvPoke website. And he didn't ask me to do this. I am just doing this because this site is amazing, and that new training AI is fantastic. And if you guys haven't already started training with it, you guys need to start. This is going to be where everyone is battling when they can't battle other opponents, and this is where you can test out new teams without anyone knowing that you're actually testing that line of 3 to keep it a secret when you bring it to your next tournament. So, like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.